Okay, the main theme is the central dominating idea. It's the most striking truth. It's a summary statement. All right, and for this, John 3:16. John 3:16 fulfill all these three main points. Right? The main theme is the heart of the text, summary statement, most striking truth, the central big idea. Okay, this is a very short definition, all in one. The main theme is the heart, central big, prominent, dominating, controlling, and unifying idea of the text that embraces the text and makes the text revolves around it. Okay, the function of the main theme is it determines the author's actually sorry, there's misspelling here. Author's flow of thoughts. Okay, it harmonizes the text, it embraces the text and holds it together and holds it together. There's some grammatical error, I'm sorry about that. Causes the text to revolve around it. It unifies and governs the text. Okay. All right, the main theme should be easy to find. All right. Now this part you need to take note. For a main theme, it takes at least 2 keywords. Minimum of 2 keywords, sometimes can have 3 keywords. Very rarely you find 4. Okay, so basically 2 keywords, that's the minimum. All right. When somebody asks you what is the main theme of 1 Corinthians 13, a lot of people will quickly jump into it and say love. That's half right. Okay, the author is talking a certain aspect of love, and that is the word greatest. All right, the two comes together, 2 keywords, it forms the main theme. All right, you look at Romans, just and faith. The just shall live by faith. See, when the 2 words come together, then they form the main theme of a section of the book or the entire book. Okay, so bear that in mind, minimum 2 key words. And I want you to tell you very carefully, the other one is the main keyword, the main idea, but the subsequent idea that comes together to form the main theme narrow the scope of the first idea. Love can be very wide, right? You can talk about divine love, you can talk about loving one another, right? You can talk about the failure to love, right? You can talk about the power of love, the benefits of love. You can talk so many things about love. But the second word, greatest, when it comes together, it narrows down to compare it with faith and hope and other gifts. Right? Faith, love is greater than all these. Right? And it is the greatest. All right? So 2 key ideas is also a common thing, especially in the narrative passage, the story part of the Bible. Quite often they don't use keywords, they just use the story. All right, they just use the story. Let me give you an example. The book of Ruth, Naomi was going back home after the family disaster. She lost her husband, she lost her 2 sons, right? And now she got 2 daughter-in-laws, Orpah and Ruth. They are Moabite girls and they want to follow her. And Naomi is aware when she arrived home, she said, God was very hard on me. Okay, so her journey is a journey of return. It's a picture of repentance. All right, so here you have one key idea. Naomi returning home, repenting and returning home. And then when she arrived home in Bethlehem, the people were all startled. Oh, Naomi is back. And then what she replied? Don't call me Naomi. I'm not sweet anymore. Call me Mara. Mara means what? Bitter. You see, the author is very careful to bring up the idea of Mara, right? Because when you read chapter 1, the end, boom, it sure hits you. The word Mara comes up, bitterness comes up very strong. So you link the idea of repentance, right? Returning as repentance to the idea of bitterness. Okay, you get the main theme that describe Naomi's repentance. It is a bitter, painful repentance. All right. So I'm just sharing with you a little bit of the ideas, and then the narrative. Sometimes I'm not going to do now. Okay, I will tell you more about narratives when I finish this part of the 10 approach. Most of them are suitable for non-narrative passages. Okay, narrative is easier. Stories, narrative or biblical stories are easy to understand, but not so easy to find the main theme, to determine the main theme. The less objective, it can be quite subjective. Whereas epistles, all this, it is harder to understand, but easier to identify the main theme and more objective. Okay, the second one I did share with you already, patience and Lord, all right? The word patience and the word Lord, two keywords coming together. Or you want to have patience plus coming of the Lord. So patience while waiting for the Lord. Okay, the two key ideas are already here. You can see this is a narrative section. The disciples struggle to paddle. They get nowhere. Jesus is not on the boat. All right. So the first point and key idea, without Jesus, you go nowhere. And the second key idea, with Jesus, you arrive fast. You arrive and you arrive fast. Okay. So you put two together, your idea can be bring Jesus with you wherever you go. All right. This is another way of putting it. Huh? All right. Then we sometimes have a keyword with one key idea. Keyword here is be strong. It's repeated. All right. Zerubbabel, be strong. Joshua, be strong. And then the people, be strong. Build the temple. I know the Samaritans are coming to trouble you again, but be strong. Okay. I am with you. At this moment, Israel is not an independent country. It is under the rule of the Persian Empire. Okay. So God promised them, I am with you. All right. It's a strong idea. So you put two together, you find the main theme of verse 3, 4, 5. Right. Be strong and build the temple, for I am with you. You know, if you want to add the word build the temple, because this story is about building the temple. Okay, let's come to this part. We stopped here yesterday. Now, the main theme is a context and interpretive force of the text. Now, when you study the Bible, there are certain parts of the text you cannot understand until you find the main theme and relate the text to the main theme. Okay, I'm going to show you from John 21, verse 1 to verse 18. Okay, you ready? All right, what's the background here? This passage is about Jesus restoring Peter. Okay, John could have ended in chapter 20, but he went on to include 21. All right, background information, Peter denied Jesus. He boasted, and then he swore and cursed that he would never betray Christ. Jesus said everybody will run like coward. He didn't use the word coward, right? But Peter was trying to tell Jesus, you don't know me. I'm the martyr type. I'm like the good guys. Die also will not run away type. So he was implying that Jesus, you don't know me. Okay. Number two, and he was feeling guilty and wanted to go back to his fishing trade. Even after the resurrection of Christ, Jesus appeared to them already. Still, he wants to go back to his fishing trade, right? They were in Galilee, so naturally he went back home and go back to fishing. And then he also pulled his four other brothers to join him, all right? James and John, the rest just joined him to go fishing. He must have felt guilty that he wants to run away, all right? And then thirdly, Jesus had appeared before his disciples, but he had not spoken anything about Peter's denial. Okay? Sorry, this part here. Okay, Peter's denial. All right, let's go to the next one. All right. Now, the main theme shed meaning to the light. The purpose of Jesus appearing before Peter at the beach is to restore him. Okay, his intention he was going to restore him. Now, why is it he appeared by the seaside? Okay, I should have given you the answer. I was doing this because I thought that sometimes if they didn't get it. Okay, why did Jesus appear by the seaside? Why did he choose the seaside to restore Peter? He chose the seaside because Peter's calling was by the seaside. He was fishing, and Jesus came by and he said, "Follow me, and I'll make you fishers of men." Right? So that is to remind Peter your calling. Number two, why help Peter catch 153 large fish? Now, for a person who wants to run away from their ministry, from serving God to the world, the best way is to make them fail. Right? When their business fail, whatever the job fail, then obediently they come back. Right? Like the prodigal son. He was so rich, he squandered everything only when he had nothing, and living like a beggar, worse than a pig, he came back. Now that would be the best way to get a sinning pastor or preacher back to the ministry. But Jesus didn't do that. Right? What did Jesus do? He helped them catch 153 large fish. And this reminds them in the book of Luke, chapter 5, where Peter and the same group of people, James and John, right? They didn't catch any fish. Right? Just the same thing Jesus said, cast your net over at the other side. So they did. Right? Just like Luke chapter 5. And what happened in Luke chapter 5? They caught so much fish. So James and John got to come over to help, and the net was bursting. Now, at the time, the disciples did not follow Jesus very strictly, like what they do later. They still they go back home to the trade, and rather than just following wherever Jesus went, it took a time before they went with Jesus wherever Jesus went, and give up their career, their fishing trade, etc. Okay, what was Peter's reaction? Peter's reaction, he said, "I'm a sinner." Right, and he's unclean, and he asked Jesus to what? To go away, to go away. Right, he felt so unworthy. Now, at this moment, in John 21, where Jesus is restoring Peter, Peter also felt unworthy. All right, and he felt guilty. And we can see from Peter's reaction. Okay, now, when they caught the fish, they all realized The one who is shouting at the seaside, giving us instruction, is none other than Jesus Christ. They didn't know that it is Jesus Christ in the beginning. So at the moment, they recall. Isn't that familiar? We had that in Luke chapter 5. So it was at this moment, what happened? All right. You know what happened, right? What did Peter do? Peter did a very strange thing. Now, let me ask you all. Do you put on clothes to jump into the sea to swim, or you undress to jump into the sea to swim? Okay, answer my question. I know in Nepal you don't have swimming, you have very few swimming pool, but you have rivers, right? You have rivers and ponds where you can swim also. Uh, do you undress and to the minimum to swim, or you put on your whole costume to swim? Now answer me. You all can argue and then answer me. The coke is growing. Come. All right, come. Give it a try. What was Peter's condition at that moment? The Bible tells us what? He was naked.
Naked.
He was naked. Okay? So when he realized it's Jesus Christ, what did he do? He felt so embarrassed. So what did he do? He put on his clothes, right? And then the next moment, he did the most stupid thing. He jumped into the sea. Okay? You are already not properly dressed ready. Just jump into the sea. If you want to go into the sea, just jump into it. That is a proper attire. But he got himself fully dressed and then jumped into the sea. That is a wrong attire. Normally, you don't jump into the sea with your normal clothes because it can hamper you from swimming and make you drown if you're not careful. All right? So here it tells us he's a guilty, confused man up in his brain. All right? He is trying to what? Run away. Peter was trying to run away from Jesus Christ. In Luke chapter 5, he told Jesus, you go away. But now he himself is trying to run away. Right? Then later we know in the story, Peter was the last one to go up. He was the last person to go up to meet with Jesus Christ. Okay, now in this particular passage, John 21, when they came to the seashore, Jesus has already prepared food for them. Right? He prepared some small amount of food for them and then told them later to get more fish because since they have a big catch. So Jesus actually performed a miracle there with food and a fireplace. Now, why fireplace? Why he started a fire? Okay, tell me. Those who have not attended my class before, you tell me, why did Jesus started a fire? And then ask Peter, do you love me more than this? 3 times. And Peter knew that he is addressing his denial. Think about it. What happened in the fireplace? earlier.
Peter had denied Jesus.
Yes, it is the fireplace where he denied Jesus Christ 3 times. All right? So Jesus is using the fireplace to remind him, okay, number one, why I choose the seaside, I want to remind you of your calling. Number two, why I let you catch 153 large fish, to remind you, you told me to go away when you were feeling guilty. Now you're running away from me. And number three is to remind him, remember you denied me 3 times by the fireside. Now I want you to reaffirm your commitment by the fireside. Okay? So these 3 events are not there by accident. It is well planned. It is appealing to Peter's past experience before he threw the question. Right? And it is interesting when Jesus asked Peter, you know, how did Jesus ask Peter, address him? He said, Peter, son of Jonah. He didn't say, Peter, come, let me talk to you. He said, Peter, son of Jonas. He brought up his father's name. Okay. Aksha, I want to talk to you. Okay. They say, Aksha, you did something which I'm not happy. Then I want to correct you. It's just imagining, okay? And then I say, Aksha, daughter of Kuma. Now, what does it come across to everyone? If I bring in your father's name, immediately you sense what? Very serious. Now he's talking about my father. He's bringing my father in. Right? Yeah. So straight away he registered in Peter's mind. My goodness, he's calling my father. He never talked to me like that. All the while he called me Peter, and now he called me Peter, son of Jonas. Okay. Because Peter doesn't take things quite seriously. And this is a serious matter. So Jesus need to get Peter thinking first. All right, 3 times he addressed him with his father's name. So Peter must have got the message. Wow, this is serious. He's bringing my father in. Okay, and then he said, "Do you love me more than this? All this fishing trade and all this." So finally, Peter said yes. And then the last time he said, Peter, he was quite upset and said, God, you know everything. Earlier he was like telling Jesus Christ, I'm a martyr, you don't know me. I'm not a coward who will run away. And now he said, you know everything. He surrendered. All right. And Jesus said, feed my sheep, feed my lamb, feed my sheep. You know, the implication of this imperative said, Peter, I want you to go back. Come back to me. All right. Go back to your ministry and serve me as an apostle. All right. So when you understand the theme of this particular chapter, John 21, the purpose is to restore Peter. And in John's writing, he has this particular chapter to help the early church understand that Jesus did not reject Peter. Otherwise, the church would reject Peter's writing, First Peter and Second Peter, right? Because he denied Jesus Christ. Okay, so this is one part. The main theme is an interpretive force in the text. Okay, it sheds light to the purpose of the 3 events. All right, now we are on this one. Wait, Okay, this one, the 10 common sense way to discover the main theme. All right, the first one is repeated keywords. You don't have to copy because it's all inside your PowerPoints there. Okay, the second one is the repeated verse or phrase. All right, when we look at 3rd John, you realize that there is a repeated phrase. All right, repeated verse and repeated phrase are a high indicator of the main theme. All right, third is the imperative or command. How do you say command in in the police?
आज्ञाहरू
Agya, main theme,
मुख्य विषयवस्तु
मुख्य. Okay. All right. Fourth is a declarative purpose statement. This is where the author declare his purpose. All right. And you find that in certain books right at the beginning, they tell you why I'm writing X. Luke, that's what he do. That's what the author does. Okay. And the purpose statement is often in the first person. Right. And sometimes it is God sharing a revelation, and then he declare his purpose in the first person. Okay, the embracing idea. So this is some time where there are several ideas and none of them can become the main theme. So what embraces all the sub ideas naturally becomes the main theme. Now I will give you each one example after another. Okay, so you don't worry about not understanding this part right now. Okay, the first and last. Sometimes the author want to tell you right at the beginning, and then sometimes he will tell you right at the end. You find that very common in the book of Psalms. All right, the book of Psalms, a lot of passages, a lot of Psalms, the verse 1 is the main theme. Okay. All right. Number 7, the question and answer. If there's a question, the answer is the main theme. So sometimes the author will purposely throw a question. We call it the rhetorical question, something to capture your attention, right? To look out for the answer. So when you are ready for the answer, then the author will tell you the answer. Number 8, problem and solution. All right. If there's a problem, the solution is the main theme. Right. Number 9, discussion and conclusion. All right. Sometimes you discuss some matter and then finally you conclude the matter. Okay. You find that there is also quite a common way where the author expressed the main theme. Number 10, the charge as a commission. Okay. For example, in the First Timothy, Second Timothy, there are a lot of charges. All right, Paul charged Timothy, right, to fight a good fight. Okay, Paul charged Timothy as a pastor to deal with false teaching. Right, Jesus before he ascended in Matthew 28:18, the Great Commission. The Great Commission is not just a command; it is a charge. Okay. 11, I increased to 11 point, the judicial charge. Now, 10 and 11, the word charge in English is used in many sense. That's the problem with the English language. Okay, charge can be a serious entrusting of responsibility. Okay, when a pastor is ordained, a more senior pastor will read the charge. I charge you to preach the gospel. This. Okay, that means it's become your duty. Okay, judicial charge is where you are charged as guilty. It is a picture of a court situation where the judge take the hammer, da, 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 you are guilty, sentenced to how many years or what, even death sentence, etc., etc. The charge will be read. The charge will be read to the person who is guilty. All right, the attorney will charge him as guilty, and then the judge made the judgment. So it's a judicial charge, and you find that 5 cases in the book of Malachi. Okay, you also find that in the prophetic books. Many of the prophetic books has got charged. God charged his people guilty. Right? In Ezekiel, he charged the 2 sisters. I think Ohula or Oholiba, this I can't remember the name now. The 2 sisters, one referring to Israel, the other one referring to Judah, that they are guilty, all right, of committing spiritual adultery. Okay, these are the 11 of them. I want you to remember them. Repeated words, repeated verse, imperative, declarative purpose statement, embracing idea, first and last, question answer, problem solution, discussion conclusion, charge as a commission, the charge as a judicial charge. Okay, these are 11. So it may be good for you just to print out this particular section and put it somewhere so that you look at it, remember, and recall it. You can make a story out of these 11 points, okay? Okay, sentence structure. I'm sorry, the 12. This one is only for a small section. Not so relevant for your Nepalese Bible because the translations structure is quite different from the original Greek text. So sometimes if it's quite different, you cannot convey the idea. All right. Okay, the first one, repeated keywords. When you see a passage, then you mark keyword, words that are being repeated. Okay, I say faith and just. Just you box it up in red. And then when you come to faith, you draw a book and then a blue color book. Then inside you shade it green. We grow in faith. Okay, so that's become a symbol of faith. All right. You will notice that these 2 keywords keep popping up in the book of Romans. Okay, so you know these 2 keywords, when they come together, they become the main theme. All right. So it is important that you have the color chart that I gave you all. Some of my students, they will laminate it. Okay, that's in Singapore. Maybe if you want to laminate in a place, you can also do it. All right, keep it in a proper place. So you need to refer to them quite often. All right, it consists of symbols also. Just the use of colors is not enough. You need to have symbols. Okay. Right. What you do is that you look up for the 2 most common keywords. Then you ask which is the other keyword that will pair up with this keyword to become the main theme. Just like when you mark 1 Corinthians 13 with a 2 red heart joins together to represent love. Then you realize, hey, love, 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 love so many times. I found one keyword. This is the most common keyword. What is the next common keyword that is going to pair up with this one to become the main theme? Okay, so by the time when you picked up the most important keyword, you actually have found 50% of the main theme. And then it will make it easier for you to discover the next keyword that has to be related to this to form the main theme. All right, can you see the word faith and just and believe, trust? These are the synonyms. don't expect the author to use faith all the time. Sometimes you use the word believe because words that have got the same meaning, right? Faith and the word just. Okay, yeah, just you use a red box. You can refer to the chart that I gave you all. Determine the relationship of faith and just based on what the scripture text is trying to tell you. And the text actually link up for you in verse 17. Romans 1:17, the just shall live by faith. So that's the main theme of Romans. 1 to 11 is talking about the just shall live by faith. Right? And then when it comes to chapter 12 onward, he's talking about how the just shall live. Are you all following me so far? Okay, the second one, love and greatest. Okay, this one already covered. So, although the word latest is the greatest appear only once, but actually the idea of greatest appear right at the beginning. If I speak with tongues of angels and I don't have love, I'm nothing. If I have faith to move mountains and I don't have love, I'm nothing. Okay, if I have the knowledge of all things and I don't have love, I'm nothing. Okay, so love is greater than all spiritual gifts. Right? Then he concluded, love is greater than faith and hope. All right. Now, let me give you an example how this main theme embrace the whole chapter. Right? First one, love is greater than all gifts. Okay. You found the theme, love is greater than the rest. So what you do is that you ask, how is this passage related to the main theme? So love is greater than all gifts, because he's talking about comparing love with gifts. Okay, what do you get for this one? Love embraces all virtues. All right, love embraces all virtue. Love is patient and kind. Okay, they talk about the quality of love here. All right, love is patient. That's a difficult part. Right? Everybody want love is what? Love is a nice, good feeling. Right? There are a lot of young people, they fell in love with love. They're not really falling in love. They just want that love feeling. Right? But Paul says, love is expressed in the form of patience. That stuff. Now, the Chinese word for patient is very interesting. It is a knife on top of a heart. Right? A sharp knife on top of a heart. So patient is like piercing your heart, knife piercing your heart. That's so graphic and so good. The way the Chinese word express it. Okay, next one. Love never ends, all right? But the rest will all end. Love never fails, but all else will. Okay? And then finally, love is greater than faith and hope. All right? So you can see this main theme embrace the whole chapter, right? Just like the book of Romans, faith and just embrace the whole book of Romans. Okay, are you following me so far? Let me stop here for a while. Are you following me?
Yes.
Now I need to respond. If I ask a question, you don't answer, I don't know where are you. All right, you need to let me know. All right. I still prefer face-to-face teaching, but then we can't do that. Okay. Please let me know. Are you all following me? I only hear one voice.
Yes.
Put up your hand, or use a
Yeah.
symbol. Sure. Okay. Yeah? Okay. All right. Now, if you don't understand, please ask. All right. If necessary, I will ask Suresh to interpret. And Suresh has gone through this whole thing twice with me, and then this round will be the third round. I think Suresh should be qualified as a trainer after this.
Silent hearing is Nepali style.
Ah, yes. But then in my style, I'm the teacher, you follow my style. I like my student to talk. Okay, I can understand that Chinese students are also like that, all very quiet. They're afraid of asking questions. They're afraid that if they ask a question and the teacher got angry, sometimes the teacher don't know how to answer the question. You think you're very smart, is it? Asking so many questions. This is one trick that sometimes teachers use. But that's not the case here. I like you all to ask questions, okay? If I don't know, it doesn't matter. I'll tell you I don't know. Then we go and search for it. Okay. All right. The second way of finding the main theme uh, is to look out for repeated verse or repeated phrase. Now, the writers don't always use one method to help you determine the main theme. All right. Sometimes he use keywords. Sometimes he can use a verse. Then he repeat the verse. Sometimes he use a question or answer. Sometimes he put it in the beginning, and then sometimes he put it at the end. So it all depends how the author wants it. All right. And these are the 12 ways I've discovered so far. All right. Repeated verse or phrase. The author would repeat the idea using the same or synonymous words, phrases. All right. And the words that describe the main theme can be found in the repeated verse or phrase. Now, it's not difficult to pick the main theme of a book if the author used repeated verse or phrase. Okay, one example is the book of Judges. Okay, the book of Judges. What it says, in those days, Israel had no king. All the people did whatever seems right in their own eyes. Okay, you find this verse appear 4 times: 17:6, 18:1, 19:1, and 21 verse 25. Now remember, when I was a young believer, the first time I read the book of the Old Testament, I read to chapter 17. Okay, then I read, and then, hey, how come this verse appear again? Don't tell me I read backward. Have I read this section before? Then I realized, I didn't realize that this verse is being repeated. So I read. Hey, again it's repeated. Alamak! I said, my goodness, I must have read backward. I've already finished reading this part. Later that I realized, no. This verse is repeated 4 times in the book of Judges. When you have a verse repeated so many times, you know the main theme is right inside there. Okay, but you cannot say there is no king and everybody did what was right in their own eyes to be the main theme. It doesn't make the main theme. It has to be something plus this. Okay? So this becomes the first idea. Everybody did what was right in their own eyes. What is the other main idea that will pair up with these to become the main theme. And that is God punished them. Okay, the book of Judges speaks about 7 cycles of sin, of rebellion, disobedience towards God, and how God punished them. Right? In all the cases, how God punished them. So the main theme will be what? The key verse plus a repeated key idea in the text where God punished them. So key idea 1 is people did what was right in their own eyes. Key idea number 2 is God punished them. You just add them together, you have the main theme. Right? Rebellion, you can say rebellion will lead to chastisement, or retirement will lead to judgment. Rebellion will lead to judgment, I'm sorry. Okay. All right, repeated key verse. Another one, example, Daniel chapter 4, 17, 25, and 32. All right. In this particular chapter, this verse was repeated 3 times. God, the Most High, rules in the kingdom of men. All right, that's the main theme of the book of Daniel. Daniel got to serve different kings, different dynasty. He served his own Jewish king. Now he got to serve the Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar's grandson, Nebuchadnezzar's son-in-law, then grandson. Actually, Nebuchadnezzar's son, and then son-in-law, and then the grandson. And then finally, Darius and Cyrus. So he has served many, many kings, right? And he has seen the rise of empire and the fall. Okay, here God was speaking to Nebuchadnezzar, right? And Daniel is book is telling us God is in control. And finally, Nebuchadnezzar learned his lesson, right? And part of chapter 4, Daniel 4, is written by, now listen carefully here. Part of chapter 4, Daniel 4, is the only section in the Bible written by a non-Jewish king, or literally a non-Jew. All right. What Daniel did was that the end part of is an imperial decree by Nebuchadnezzar at the end of this chapter, as he wrote to send it out to all the provinces. So Daniel basically took the section and put it inside the Bible. Okay. God is sovereign over Daniel and friends. He rules over Nebuchadnezzar. Actually, he taught Nebuchadnezzar 3 lessons. First one is a dream. Right? Nebuchadnezzar said about God, there's no God that can reveal like that. Chapter 3, he threw Belshazzar, suddenly the names slip my mind. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Okay? This is the Babylonian name. He threw them into the fire. And then he saw 4 people inside dancing in the fire. He called them out. He said, one looks like the Son of God. And then he passed a decree. Nobody should say anything bad about the God of these 3. All right, about the true and living God. And then the last lesson was God turned him mad. And then he says, nobody rules like this God. He decides whom he will choose. The good king or bad king, it's up to him. Okay? So sometimes a good country suddenly may have a very bad ruler coming up. Okay, chapter 5. Over Belshazzar. Okay? Belshazzar took the cup from the temple. At this moment in chapter 5, the the Persian Empire has already surrounded the city, the Babylonian city. But Babylonian city is built with two walls. During that time, there's no way you can come over. It is impossible to really go into this city. All right. So Belshazzar was having a party, right? Having a party inside the palace while the enemies have surrounded them. They're thinking that they can never come in. So he took the temple utensils. You know what the significance of using temple utensils that belongs to Israel? He's trying to tell the world, the foreign nations, their gods are even under my God, my gods, right? That's the reason why whenever they raid a country, will take their gods, idols, and utensils and put into their own temple, meaning to say, as a nation, we rule over you. As your God is, our God rules over you. It's more powerful than your God. They have this kind of idea. So Belshazzar was celebrating, and then suddenly he saw the finger writing, mini, mini, tekel, hufasin. He couldn't understand. All right? And the queen came and called for, that is Belshazzar's mother, called for Daniel to come. Okay? Daniel at the time was no longer an important official anymore. So when Daniel came, he explained the dream to Belshazzar. His time's up. Okay? The very night the Persians came in, they didn't scale the wall. Cyrus blocked the river upstream. So the water subsided. So the soldiers actually walked from the river from the river tunnel into the city and went straight to the palace and killed Belshazzar. All right. Now, a matter of interest, Matter of interest. Okay, a matter of interest. Why, uh, you know, after Belshazzar's death, the Jewish nation, the Jews were allowed. Cyrus told the Jews to go home. Okay, and he let them he let them take the temple utensils, all the precious. Uh, these are already antique, right? He asked them to take them home, all the plates and gold, and these are priceless treasure that have been there for thousands of years. Now, why did Cyrus do that? Why come Cyrus is so generous to let them take all the things home? Okay, can make a guess. It's not found in the Bible. Why? Cyrus came into the palace the next day. He entered Babylon the next day, right? It wasn't Cyrus who conquered. Cyrus general conquered the place. Next day he came. Guess what happened? Somebody must have brought Cyrus to the palace. The Babylonians must have their spy there also, right? And they must have brought Cyrus to the palace and point to the writings of God. Mini, mini, tekel, ufasin. Okay? And explain to Cyrus what happened. And don't forget, the prophet Daniel was there during the time. So Daniel must have explained to him So what must have come to Cyrus' mind? Cyrus must have been thinking, Nebuchadnezzar, grandson, did that, and that's the end of Babylon. Now I know what happened. I won't do that. But what if my grandchildren, grandchildren, did the same thing like Belshazzar? Then God is going to write on the palace of Persia, mini tekel hufasin, finished. Persia will be finished. So what is the safest thing to do? You tell me, what's the safest thing to do for Cyrus with regard to the temple, Jewish temple utensils? Answer? Make attempts, okay? This study method is to get people to talk. I'd like you all to talk more so I can talk less. Okay, come, quickly give me an answer, then we can finish this part and we have a break. What is the safest way? That's what Cyrus did in the scripture. He what? He returned all of them. Okay? He told the Jews, bring it home, back to your temple, and then pray for me. And give them permission to build the temple. All right? That's why we have the book of Haggai. They quoted Cyrus' decree that he gave the permission for them to build the temple. Okay? 6, over Darius, officials and the lions. Now, Darius, the king of Persia, has got this law. If a king pass a law, he himself must keep the law. He cannot erase the law. Okay? Unlike Nebuchadnezzar, there's no law against Nebuchadnezzar. He can do what he wants. But not the Persian king. The Persian king, their power is a little bit restricted. In fact, they are more humane as compared to the Babylonians. So Darius got tricked that he sent Daniel into the lion's den. Okay, at this stage, Daniel is already an old man. Now, when he first came to Babylon, he's about maybe 15 years, but 70 years exile, okay? So plus 70, he's about 85 or more, by then, not a young man anymore. And miraculously, they couldn't find anything against him. So they thought they can bully these godly prophets, all right? But God shut the lion's mouth. And the next day, Darius was furious. He threw all Daniel's enemies who falsely accused him into the lion's den. And the lions ate them all up. Okay. These kind of stories still happen. Not exactly like that, okay? There's one African pastor many years back by the name of Timothy. The mission organization asked him to look for a place where they can set up their office, okay, their headquarters, so that they must be on a hill so that they can see the native people going out in the morning to the field and then in the evening coming back. Okay. So Timothy tried to help them find a place, but tried very hard and couldn't find. Then one fine day he was walking, then he saw a hill. I said, hey, I think this is the hill. That's nice. So he walked up the slope and come to the top of the hill. And when he turned around, there was a group of lions there. All right. And they sometimes call it pride, the lion's pride. So there's this group of lions there, And the lions must have been saying to themselves, oh, good, today we don't have to hunt. Dinner is just walking towards us now. All right. So when Timothy turned around and he saw, see, he was walking up the slope and he turned his head, keep turning his head to look below. Said, wow, this is excellent view. And by the time he came to the top, he turned his head, the lions were already face to face with him. And then he prayed, oh God, how am I going to tell them this is the good place and there is a lion right here? And he prayed, God, can you please send them all away? After his prayer, all the lions got up and walked off. Okay? Suresh, you want to share your experience with the tiger?
Yes, sir.
Do you want to share your experience with the tiger?
मैले एकचोटि बाघ भेटेको थिएँ तर बाघले खाएन भने हो मैले उसलाई जङ्गलमा भेटेको तर अगाको बाघ रहेछ अनि उसले चाहिँ खाएन मलाई हैन झम्टेर पनि आएन यस्तो एकचोटि चाहिँ आम्नै सामनै भेटेको छ एकचोटि चाहिँ यो जङ्गलको बीचमा चाहिँ यो बाघ माथिपट्टि हामी तल्लोपट्टि तर आक्रमण गरेन है यो बेलामा दुईचोटि चाहिँ यस्तो घटना मेरोमा भएको छ जङ्गलमा Thank you.
Okay.
I talk only.
Yeah, Stephen, I don't think can understand the Pali. We wait for another chance. Suresh will share with you in English. Okay, 7. Over Israel's future. Chapter 7 to 12 is a lot of prophecies. Right? Chapter 7 is the same as chapter 2. Right? It's a repetition of chapter 2. The Nebuchadnezzar's statue. Right? Chapter 2 use iron, metals to describe the kingdoms to come. But chapter 5 use animals. Babylon in chapter 2 is gold. In chapter 7 is lion. The silver is the Persian Empire. In chapter 7, it is the bear. Okay? And then the Greek Empire is bronze. In chapter 7, it is a leopard with 4 wings and 4 heads. And then finally, which most people will interpret that as the Roman Empire, is iron mixed with clay. Chapter 12, chapter 7, you have the horrible beast. Okay, chapter 8 is talking about Persian and the Greek Empire. Okay, until the later part of chapter 11, I think that part starts to talk about the Antichrist. Okay, you can see this main theme, the Most High rules in the kingdom of man, embrace the whole book of Daniel. Right? See, the main theme embraces everything. All right, clear? Key verse, okay? The author used key verse here to tell you what the main theme is. Okay, I think we have gone through 1 hour already. We can have a 5 minutes break and then we'll come back. Okay, 5 minutes break. Now it's 5:35. Come back in 9:25. Come back at 9:30. Okay, so far, sorry, Are you all following me so far? Okay, for Aksha, you also want to take note. The idea of main theme can help you to write better composition. Okay. Now, so we see here the Most High rules in the kingdom of man. The next one is the imperative or command. Sometimes the author will use imperative and command to tell you what's the main theme. The command is draws attention naturally. So it is a common way where the author used that to express the main theme. All right. Okay. Look out for imperatives. If you see imperative, you box it up in red, just like what you did for 3rd John. Okay, verse 8 and verse 11. So you box them up in red. Imperative is not necessarily the main theme, but sometimes authors do use that to express the main theme. So bear in mind that. Okay, so look out for imperatives and then box them up. And if there are many imperatives, sometimes the key one will be the main theme. All right, let's look at Philippians chapter 1, verse 1 to 5. Okay, now I give you time to read. Can you read this section in your Nepalese language and try to tell me where is the main theme? All right, so far from verse 2 to verse 5 onward, these are all imperatives. Okay, verse 2 to 5 are all imperatives. So tell me what is the main theme is the most prominent truth, all right, of the text. The main theme is the summary statement of the text. The main theme is the embracing idea of the text. Now you will realize that this particular command stands out. This command embraces everything. You have this, you have everything. Okay, I'd like you all to read your text. You can read your Nepalese language. I want you to open your Nepalese Bible or your English Bible, whichever you prefer. And then tell me where is the main theme. Um, put on your video so I can see you. So when they're done, I know.
फिलिपियन्स कति भन्नुभयो सुरेश सर?
Okay, have you all finished? Okay, what verse here is the main? Which verse?
फिलिप्पीको 1 देखि 5 सम्म।
Philippians chapter 2, 1 to 5. That's a if you pick the correct theme, is the theme of the whole chapter.
Theme of this chapter?
Yes, yes,
To be like Jesus Christ.
yes. Yeah, not exactly. Let this mind, yeah, in a sense. Okay, it's what verse? Tell me the verse. Yeah,
Verse
correct. Verse what?
Philippians 2:5.
Yes, yes. All right. You realize that verse 5 stands out. Okay.
Yes.
If you're like Christ, then you have all the qualities above. All right. Have this mind among yourself, which is yours in Christ Jesus. That means to be Christ-like in your mind. Okay. Basically, he's telling imitate Christ. Be like Christ. If you have Christ, you will also look at your interests and others' interests. If you have Christ, you will not be having rivalry and conceit, but in humility. All right. If you have Christ, you will have make Paul's joy complete. Okay. Now this verse tells us Paul's joy is incomplete. Verse 2 is addressing a problem. All right. There's some disunity among the people in the church of Philippi. Okay. Another one. Okay. There are two imperatives here. Verse 8 and verse 10. Okay. Now you take note. Main theme is generally more general. It is wider. It cannot be too narrow, too detailed. Okay, because if it's too narrow, too detailed, then it cannot embrace the other part of the text. So which one of these imperative can embrace the other imperative? We find that in verse 8 and also verse 11. Okay. Tell me which one. Which imperative is the main theme?
Watch yourself.
Why do you say that? It's correct. Why do you say that? You see, if we have verse 8, you embrace verse 10. All right? Okay, that's good. All right, watch yourselves. Otherwise, you may lose your reward. Okay? So don't get fooled by what? False teachers. Okay. So if you want to embrace the two ideas, also can watch yourself against false teachers. All right. Now, compare this with 3 John. 3 John is saying, oh, you must be hospitable to a traveling evangelist. And then this 2 John tells you, don't welcome these false teachers. Why? Why don't welcome false teachers? See, I want you to take note. When we are Christian, we're not to think about evil. But false teachers are very good in thinking about wicked things. Sometimes we can't imagine what kind of wicked things they can come up with. All right? So what happened here is that, okay, Pastor Kumar, let's say I'm a false teacher. I come to your church. And then you welcome me. You let me stay in your house. Okay? Then I took a picture. Now they handphone everywhere. Thank you very much. Wow, take a picture of you. Put my hand on your shoulder. Wow, we're like brothers. Then I went to Suresh Church. And I decided to mess up Suresh Church. I said, see, I'm a friend of Kumar. See the photos. We are like brothers. He called me his sworn brothers. He can say whatever thing he wants. And he can easily win your trust because your friend, your good friend, housed this false teacher. And now he used your name to penetrate into another church and create trouble. Whose fault is that? Okay? That's why Christ tells us, don't entertain these false teachers. All right. The fourth one is the declarative purpose statement. Okay. Declarative purpose statement. This is where the author declares the purpose, his or her purpose in writing. All right. Sometimes it's God declare the purpose. Sometimes it is author declares the purpose. And oftentimes it has to be in the first person. Now take note. When you have a purpose statement, the purpose statement is the main theme. That's it. Keywords, even if there are keywords in this particular passage, the keywords do not make up to the main theme. It is the purpose statement that overrules everything here. All right? Purpose statement is like a big brother for main theme. If he appears, the rest must move one side, whether in keywords or imperative. Okay? All right. Okay, this is the book of Jude. Tell me where is the purpose statement? You can read your own the Police Bible, all right? 1 to 4. What was his original intention? So he changed. He changed from his original intention to something else, and he's telling you. Okay, so what is the purpose statement here? Right? At the beginning of the book, he already told you, this is my purpose.
To hold their faith.
Not hold the faith, contend for the faith. All right? To contend for the faith. Verse 3. And the reason is in verse 4. For certain people have crept in. These are false teachers who have crept in. Very ungodly people. So, when you look at this particular passage, remember, contend for the faith. All right? Okay. Contend for the faith because of false teachers. You must learn to defend the fundamental doctrines of the Bible. All right, you got it? Good. The next one. Can you see? Solomon, he says, the proverb of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel, to know what? Wisdom and instruction to understanding. The word to here tells us is the purpose. Okay? There's a whole string of purpose. Okay? And the basic idea is to what? To teach people what? To know wisdom and instructions. All right? To teach people to be wise. That's why Proverbs is also called the book of wisdom. Okay? I think, okay, I'm not going to go more with this. Okay, that's it. And the next one. We still have some time, enough time to finish another one. The big embracing idea. Now, since everything revolves around the main theme, and the main theme also embrace everything, all right? Wait. All right, everything revolves around the main theme. And the main theme, what? Embraces everything. Okay. Sometimes you see some sub-theme, there's several ideas, but they cannot form the main theme. They just cannot pack the other ideas under it. So you have to look out for an idea that embraces all the things. Okay. This one is a little bit harder, and let me teach you how to do it. Okay. Now, Philippians chapter 1, verse 13 to 8. Let everybody read this one. Can you read aloud? Okay, everybody read this passage. You can read in on the Polish Bible. All right. Okay. Now, this is a section about prayer. In fact, from verse 3 to verse 11 is all about prayer. This talks about certain thing about prayer. All right, you can see the word. There are a few things expressed here. There's few key ideas. The first one is in verse 3. Thank my God. Okay. The second idea is in verse 4. Praying with joy. All right. I thank my God. I pray with joy. And then the third one is in verse 6. For I am sure that he began a good work in you will complete it at the day of Jesus Christ. This is I am sure, all right, or confidence. Okay, and then verse 8, there's another form idea. How I yearn for you with all the affection of what? Jesus Christ. For God is my witness. That means he's talking about his honesty. Okay, bring it here. Or truthful. First one is thankful. Second one is joyful. And the third one is sure or confident. And then the last one is truthful. God is my witness that I really have this affection towards you. Okay, so what is the idea that can embrace these four? Prayer plus what? Okay, make a guess.
I think joyful.
If you have joyful, joyful is just one of the four, and it cannot embrace the others. It has to be more general, bigger, that can embrace these four ideas. That's a good try. Okay, very few groups got the answer. My teaching experience, very few groups can tell me the right answer. So it's okay. Just try. Everybody just guess. Whatever it comes to your mind.
Confident.
Confident also cannot. It's down here. It cannot be one of the four. Right? Confident doesn't embrace the other three. The other three. It's
Truthful.
Truthful? No. It cannot be one of the four.
Okay, it's belief.
Good try. No. Keep trying because this is new to you. Never mind. You will, don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's how you learn.
Gospel.
Gospel?
No.
Thank you. Okay.
Love.
Not inside here.
Maybe praise or whatever.
What is joyful? What is thankful?
Holy Spirit.
What? No.
Heart?
Prayer heart. Quite close. Getting close.
Closer.
How?
Faith.
Okay, I better not hold you longer because I still got another example. Now, attitude.
Attitude. Oh,
There's the love also.
Prayer attitudes.
Oh,
Thankful attitude, joyful attitude, confident attitude, truthful attitude. Got it?
got it.
Prayer attitudes. Attitude is the one that embraces these four ideas. But the word attitude was never found here. Okay, so I call this the embracing idea. All right. Okay, the next one. Actually, okay. Now that's Daniel chapter 1. His king was Jehoiachin, now he is under Nebuchadnezzar. He was in Judah, then he was deported to Babylon. Originally he spoke Hebrew, now he got to learn Arabic. His name was Daniel, now they call him Belteshazzar. He eat clean food, now he's forced to eat unclean food. Okay, now what is the word that embraces these five things here? Is the word is never found. The word is never found inside here, but the idea is all inside here. Change. Can you see that? Change of kings, change of place, change of languages, change of name, change of food, right? So the idea here is hostile changes. All right, hostile changes. And then how did Daniel respond? It shows his faithfulness. He purposed in his heart not to sin against God. His action, he went ahead and asked for permission, 10 days test. That's a step of faith. That's a tremendous act of faith, very courage. All right. And then Daniel's reward. Okay, he won. Maybe you put purpose, courage, or purpose, action also can. Okay. So when you combine these two ideas together, you have the main theme. Faithfulness confronting changes, or faithfulness in the midst of hostile changes. All right? It depends on how you want to phrase it. Can you understand can you understand? Okay. It's almost time's up. We got another 15 minutes more. Okay. Now I want to reserve this to maybe for Suresh to explain to you if you have any question. Now, any questions so far? Unmute yourself, please. Suresh was blocked out just now. He came back in again. I think his internet connection is not working properly. Okay. Do you have any question you want to ask? I'm waiting.
हजुर केही प्रश्नहरू छ भने सोध्न सक्नुहुन्छ
मैले हजुरलाई मेसेज गरेको थिएँ नि त्यो हुन्छ मेसेज गर्नुभयो भने चाहिँ अलिक मैले बुझेन कि हिजो म अलिकति यो पानी परेको कारणले क्लासमा बस्न पाएन होइन अनि अहिले फेरि जोइन हुँदाखेरि बुकहरूको थिमको बारेमा पढाउँदै हुँदो रहेछ अनि हामीले बुकहरू पढेपछि मात्र थिममा जाने हो कि कसो हो अलिक बुझेन त्यही भएर
होइन हामीले के अरे कुनै पनि खण्ड बाइबलको खण्डबाट कसरी मुख्य थिम पत्ता लगाउने भन्ने बारेमा हेर्यौं अनि त्यसको लागि चाहिँ हामीले 12 वटा तरिकाहरू हेर्यौं हैन जस्तै उदाहरणको लागि रिपिटेड भर्सहरू हैन अनि वर्डहरू त्यस्तै गरे 12 वटा हामीले हेर्यौं अनि त्यो 12 वटा चाहिँ कसरी पत्ता लगाउन सकिन्छ भनेर उहाँले एक एक गर्दै विभिन्न पुस्तकको खण्डबाट उदाहरण दिनुभएको हो त्यो क्लियर गर्नको लागि ओके अनि मैले हिजोको भिडियो पनि अपलोड गरिदिएको छु हाम्रो मेसेन्जर ग्रुपमा तपाईले हेर्न सक्नुहुन्छ
हुन्छ सर धन्यवाद
Well, is there anything you want to ask? If you think that using the polish will be better, you can ask Suresh.
यदि
म्युट छ सरको म्युट छ सर
आवश्यक पर्यो भने म ट्रान्सलेसन गर्छु धन सरले गर्नुहुन्छ कुमार सरले पनि गर्नुहुन्छ अनि आज मेरो बेस्टन पानी परिरहेछ अनि यो के रे नेटले काम गरिरहेछ हैन एकछिनमा जान्छ एकछिनमा आउँछ त्यस्तो भइरहेछ My network is not good today.
Okay. All right. What I want you to do is to take the Nepalese notes and read it. All right. This PowerPoint has been translated by Pastor Devaraj, so you can read that to help you. Okay. And the second thing is that read the whole thing through before you come to my class tomorrow. Okay. Now you are under lockdown. You got a lot of time.
Actually, we have the Nepali note also. We have English and Nepali note also. But
he mute himself.
Some are not able to print the note.
Yeah, but you can use your computer or your handphone to open it and read.
Okay, okay.
right? All right, I think I want to teach you another one more. We will stop here today. And if you need somebody to explain to you, contact Suresh. Okay, he will be able to explain to you. He's good enough. So you can arrange for a Zoom class with him, so that he can explain further detail, and he can do it in Nepali because I don't know Nepali. God willing, when the COVID-19 pandemic is over, I come to Nepal and I can meet you all. Maybe we can conduct a class. Besides teaching this book, I also teach Daniel, Revelation. I also teach follow-up using charts. Very useful. I was surprised. It was a very easy lesson for me. But the Nepali pastors, leaders, when I taught them several years ago, they were so happy with this. They said, wow, this is a very effective way, and they use it in their ministry. Okay, I like to explore methods which with very little resource or without any resource. This whole method is what? Basically, your color pencils and the Bible. All right, and charts. All right. Later, I will teach you on the 3rd John. How to do the marking. So this is what you're going to do. Read the notes, okay, and then start to mark 3rd John. The word truth. All right. The word truth. Draw a purple book. All right, a purple book on the word truth. Let me go back to this one. Okay, can you see verse 1? The elder to the beloved Gaius, whom I love. Love is two hearts together in truth. All right, can you see a purple book? Okay, and then you see that in verse 3 again. For I rejoice greatly, brethren, came and testified of the truth. All right, 2, and then verse 4, and then you see then other places. So I want you to mark this, and I want you to mark the word walk. Walk, you just draw 2 legs. Okay, you just draw 2 legs. Let me see, I can use the you don't have a whiteboard here. I thought I have a whiteboard. Okay. Maybe I got to stop share, then they can let me do it. Oh, cannot. Oh, I see. I get it. I need to open the one. I don't have that one. Okay. For example, okay. Rather brown color. Okay, you can draw 2 legs like that. Right. The word walk. Okay. Okay, brown color. Okay. And the word imitate. Imitate also walk. Right? To imitate good, don't imitate evil. You also draw 2 legs. Okay, now walking in the truth. Yeah, symbols will help you. Keywords will help you find the main theme. All right. Okay, I think I better let you go. I'm also tired already. Your place is 8 o'clock. Down here is already 10:25. Sleepy time. Sleeping time. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoy your lesson. Okay, and I hope that this will help you in your Bible studies, teaching and training other people. Okay, actually in the group there are already 2 persons who are training other people. This sister Umila and also Pastor Suresh. Right, Umila is using my map. Okay, and Stephen also. He went through the lesson with me. He did 3rd John, Haggai, and also we did Philippians. I'm supposed to teach them using Ruth or Nehemiah on the narrative side, but I didn't have we all didn't have a chance to do it. All right, maybe we ask one of you, we ask one, Ganja. Ganja, can you say the closing prayer? And also pray for me. I hurt my back. So after sitting down for a long time, I can't straighten my back. It's going to take me a long time to get up and to straighten my back. So pray for God's healing. The devil always attack me when I do something new.
Okay. हामी प्रार्थना गरौँ, नेपालीमा प्रार्थना गरौँ।
Yes, okay, go ahead.
प्रभु, हामी तपाईलाई धन्यवाद दिन्छौँ। त प्रभु ईश्वरको प्रेम, त प्रभु ईश्वरको अनुग्रह हामीमा प्रशस्त मात्रामा भएको कारणले गर्दा प्रभु 3 दिनदेखि आज यो तेस्रो दिनसम्म त परमेश्वरले हामीलाई अनुग्रह गर्नुभयो। यो क्लासहरू प्रभु जब हामी अध्ययन गर्ने क्रममा प्रभु धेरै गाह्रो कुराहरू भइरहेको छ प्रभु, बुझ्नलाई परमेश्वर हामीलाई ज्ञान बुद्धि विवेक दिनुहोस् प्रभु, सहायता गर्नुहोस् पनि म प्रार्थना चाहन्छु प्रभु। प्रार्थना चाहन्छु तपाईँको छोराको जो पछाडिको साइडमा जुन प्रकारको बस्दाखेरि जुन दुख्ने कुराहरू गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ, यसकारण त परमेश्वरले तपाईँको छोरालाई शक्ति दिनुहोस् प्रभु। त परमेश्वरको अनुग्रहले अभिषेक गर्नुहोस् पनि म प्रार्थना गर्न चाहन्छु प्रभु। अनि भोलिको दिनहरूमा त परमेश्वरले हामीलाई अझ गहिरोमा जानलाई सहायता गर्नुहोस्, बुझ्नलाई सहायता गर्नुहोस् प्रभु। हामीहरूका आफ्नै मिनिस्ट्रीहरू छन्, त परमेश्वरले हामीलाई सबै कुराहरूमा त परमेश्वरले अनुग्रह कृपा गर्नु धन्यवाद छ। सबै कुरा त परमेश्वरको हातमा राख्दै प्रार्थना चढाउँछौँ प्रभु ख्रीष्टको नाममा, आमेन।
Amen. Amen. Okay.